You're listening to E-commerce Fastlane, the podcast show to help you build, manage, grow, and scale a successful and thriving company, powered by Shopify. Listen to real conversations with partners and subject matter experts as they share proven practical strategies, platforms, and the best Shopify apps to help you accelerate your business. The time is now for you to improve efficiencies, grow revenue, profit, and lifetime customer loyalty. Please welcome your host, startup founder, and strategic advisor, Steve Hutt.
Welcome back to E-commerce Fastlane. I'm your host, Steve Hutt. And one challenge that I know that keeps most direct-to-consumer brands up at night, I believe, is kind of maximizing their paid advertising performance. And I think most brands, they tend, and I know this for a fact, they really kind of fixate on metrics, things like ROAS and CPA, like cost per acquisition. But I believe that there's a bigger picture that might be missing in this algorithm. And I think it's truly understanding what the customer lifetime value is. And today, I have an incredible guest today, and I think they really are revolutionizing kind of how digital advertising is happening. It's a company that is absolutely been crushing it in Japan. I believe they have, based on my research, about 91% market share, managing over 300,000 ad campaigns right now. And they've helped major brands cut a lot of their ad management time, literally in half. I'm sure they're going to dig into some of these numbers in a few minutes, but they've recently brought their platform that is like just owning the market in Japan. They are now here in North America, and I'm really excited to have two kind of key leaders from a company. They're called Shirofune, and they are spelled SHIRO, and it's FUNE.US is for the US company. And my two people that are here today are founder and CEO. His name is Mitsu, and I believe he's built like an incredible platform. We're going to dig a lot into that, about how there's the human component, but then there's also the digital component. It's quite interesting. Also, we have with us today is Rocco, who's the VP of Account Strategy, and I believe he's been very instrumental in really bringing Shirofune's kind of success here into the North American market. So welcome, gentlemen, to E-commerce Fastlane.
Thank you so much, Steve. It's a pleasure being here. I do appreciate your invite.
Yeah, thank you.
So let's just kind of unpack it a bit first, Mitsu. I want to understand, there is and I did my research, but I guarantee my listeners are going to go, Shirofune, what exactly is that? What's the meaning behind the name? And can you kind of share the story to what led to you to create this platform?
Thank you for the good question, Steve. The name of Shirofune has kind of a historical background. Have you seen the Shogun TV series that won an Emmy Award recently? A European character arrives in Japan aboard a black ship during the samurai era, bringing new technologies such as guns and new ways of thinking to Japan. With that historical background, the term black ship is quite famous in Japan. Shirofune is a Japanese word that means white ship. White is the opposite of black, right?
Right.
So Shirofune means that we want to bring new technologies and a new way of thinking from Japan to the world. That's how I named Shirofune.
Yeah, love it. I love when there's a context behind a name. It's not just kind of random, pull a name out of a hat. That's right. It's nice. It's nice that that actually means something, and so I love the technology spin on it. And so I want to talk a little bit about doing more research. I've found out that there's been over 20,000 hours of coding that has actually gone into the Shirofune platform. And can you talk a little bit about that whole like what exactly does the platform do? Clearly there is a human component, but then there's also this kind of AI kind of machine component that makes the two work really well. So can you talk a little bit about maybe some of the challenges that you found in digital advertising and why Shirofune is clearly solving a lot of these challenges now?
Great question too. Thank you. So Shirofune is an automation platform that helps brands and agencies to manage ads by doing most of the manual work automatically. Shirofune automatically handles budgeting, bidding, and even provides suggestions and explanations for the why performance got better or worse, just like an actual human expert. How can we do that? Shirofune is not based on AI or machine learning. When I was working as an advertising manager at the largest digital advertising agency in Japan, I tried all the automation tools from the US and Europe to fix the overtime working issue. But our dedicated ads manager always outperformed them because human experts always do the things that AI cannot do. So I realized that we needed a system that replicates what human experts do actually. So I started programming and spent over 20,000 hours coding. And now we can automate the tasks that AI cannot automate. That's our uniqueness. And that's how we got over 91% market share in Japan.
Yeah, I know, it's amazing. So Rocco, can you talk a little bit about, I guess the other word that comes up, even on the website, they talk about this human first approach. And I think that's kind of like very intriguing for Shopify merchants. And can you talk about it was mentioned a bit, Mitsu made a comment here about the fact that it's truly not AI, but I'd like to understand like the methodology, how it's different from like other kind of AI-based solutions.
Of course, Steve, it will be my pleasure to dive deep into this topic. Essentially, Shirofune believes in one essential thing. Machine can be helpful, but machines need to reason and think like a person would in a certain situation. Why do we think that? Many advertising managers, they're always scared to use automations because they think that the automations wouldn't take the same decisions that they would, given that they're not a person. Well, that doesn't mean that you cannot create an automation that uses intelligence and technology that is based on what managers actually perform.
Right.
I'll give you an example. Let's assume that you have a Shopify store and your Shopify store does very well in sales and you have a lot of repeat buyers. Well, I'm sure you want to find a way to target campaigns that essentially target more of those repeat buyers because you know that better than I do. You own the e-commerce yourself. The big money is into maximizing the acquisition cost into multiple sales.
Right.
With that said, this can be done manually. You can essentially try to find a way to pinpoint where the sales are coming from. You're going to get into a lot of attribution headaches, but the process is doable manually. It just will take you hours and hours and hours. Well, Shirofune, for example, is one of the things that we do. We automate that process and automate the budget and bidding and essentially the whole budget distribution omni-channel to target these people using your proprietary Shopify data. And this is something invaluable. We are replicating a task that you would take hours to do. And by the way, you would need to do it multiple times a week if you want to be accurate and free up time where you can actually focus on growing your business with strategies, with new tactics, with new experiments. And that's the perfect definition of what human intelligence means.
You know, I know in the past I've stumbled across a language that says RFM, which is kind of recency, frequency, kind of monetization strategy. And I think this was, quite a few years ago. And this was kind of in the early days, kind of a tactic about trying to find the active, the at-risk, and the churned customers. So it sounds like this is only one part of the Shirofune platform of understanding how do I maximize the lifetime value of my existing customers? How do I create or use ads and have campaigns around, well, they've made the purchase of product A. How do I get them to buy product B? Because statistically, I've proven it with my Shopify data that when loyal, great customers, when they buy product A, they typically buy product B or another A within a certain time period. And it's just like, well, what are we doing and understanding that data and actually getting it? And I think that's a missing piece of the puzzle from a marketing perspective, is just having a system in place that understands first purchase and then time to second purchase, and what's the statistical relevance of what the second or third purchase might be. It's quite an interesting topic.
Yes, and the secret is automation, right? Because you might be running so many campaigns. How do you dynamically on a daily basis understand what campaigns are generating exactly the customers you're looking for? And that is something that puzzles advertisers because, first of all, it's a very difficult task to perform manually. But in addition to that, is it really what you want to spend your time on when you have a solution that really takes care of that for you? And usually the answer is, yeah, I want a solution that takes care of that for me because I'd rather spend my time doing something else. And the most a store grows, the more tasks you need to perform in optimizing that store. So the more you can take off your hands in a trustworthy way, the merrier it is.
Yeah, I love that. So, Mitsu, I have a question to you about, I mean, we mentioned at the top of the show about the fact that, I think you started the company back in 2014. You have this 91% market share or more in Japan right now. And I've looked to see that there is some major agencies, like I think Dentsu, for example, I know they're like the 5th largest agency in the world. And they probably have 100,000 people working at their agencies. And I know they own a lot of co-brands, Merkle and iProspect and a few others. Can you talk a bit about some of the, I guess my thought is, and I'm going somewhere with this question because clearly your technology is significantly impressive and it's working as expected for many billion-dollar brands. Like, you're involved with like Burberry and Louis Vuitton and Calvin Klein and Procter and Gamble and L'Oreal. And these are multi-billion-dollar brands and Disney. And like, it's just insane to me that you have that in Japan, you were able to create a platform and these billion-dollar brands have made a decision that your platform is the one they need to maximize, in this case, this LTV model. And can you talk a bit about like that? Because that seems quite impressive to me. And I think knowing that is like, that's why you're in North America, because there is this huge opportunity. You've already done significantly well for these brands in the Japanese market. And so I just want to hear like your mindset and stories around these notable clients in your portfolio in Japan. And then what does that mean for American brands now?
Yeah. So why we got this client is we can provide the data and optimization for the deeper results, like I said. So right now, especially in e-commerce, marketers only see the ROAS that combines new customer acquisition and existing customer acquisition at the moment. But it's not what advertisers want to see. The primary purpose of delivering ads is to acquire new customers, right? So with our lifetime ROAS technology, we can visualize how many new customers the ads could acquire rather than simply combining the new and existing customer acquisition. And the e-commerce marketers must understand that. And in addition to that, the new customer of course, purchase again and again. So, calculation about LTV, and, calculate lifetime ROAS instead of just, short-term ROAS is, crucial for advertisers to understand and optimize it, with that data. So that's, only we can provide to the clients. That's why, we got market share and we believe that is happening in North America too.
And Steve, if I can add something to that.
Sure.
There is also what I like to call the waterfall effect. Big corporations, essentially, they're profit-driven corporations. We read it in the news every day. They make decisions because the investors need to be happy. Marketing has got to generate revenue for them. And that's what their whole business is focused on. Now, let's assume you work with 1 or 2 or 3 major corporations. These major corporations are making a lot of money through our product. Then other corporations, when they're going to see that, they're going to realize what's going on. They're going to ask what's going on. We have those case studies, those references. We can let them speak to each other. Essentially, that creates a waterfall effect. And then the next 3 make money. And as a waterfall, it keeps rippling down to all the brands, because essentially, if it's working for 1, 2, 3, then 10 companies, there must be a reason why it's working. And essentially, this helps us to create the level of trust with a brand. In addition to that, Mitsu is very visionary when it comes to selling a product. I believe we are probably I'm pretty sure we are the only company in this industry that doesn't have contracts. We are a month-to-month company. So that should speak highly to how much we trust our results. Usually they sign 6 months, 1 year, multi-year agreements. We don't do any of that. We are month to month. And that's because we know the results that we can deliver. And you can see that in how fast we expanded in Japan and how fast we are expanding in the United States.
Interesting too. Another question I have is around, and either of you can answer this question, but it's around like ad creative, because I think a part of driving net new customers, and then your platform can take care of like the second and third sale and the LTV component. But I think ad creative is very important part of a brand's kind of like execution. So can you talk about ad creative and like what part of the great that you have access to the platform. How does Shirofune, the platform, work with the brand as it relates to ad creative? And does it make recommendations about, well, we believe we need 100 pieces of creative. We need to do some A, B, C, D tests on this, or we're going to do some incrementality on. I just want to kind of understand what mandates come from the brand and saying, okay, we have some UGC video, we have some animation, we have some ideas of kind of text and call to actions and offers and things. I just want to see how the relationship works between the ad creative that the brand has, or what Shirofune uses to like with that creative. I just want to figure out how because it sounds like there's going to be a little bit of a tug of war a bit. We've got a platform that can execute and make decisions, but I think it also comes back to the quality of ad creative you have.
Yep. And that goes back, Steve, to your initial question about human intelligence. We are not making claims that we can replace an experienced marketing manager at a company.
Right.
We are there to support the marketing manager. So the marketing manager is going to get a time saving anywhere between 50 or 70% in managing an account. However, we are not going to intervene on the strategic piece of things. What do I mean by that? Let's say you have an ad set on Facebook with 10 creatives. Whenever we have enough statistically relevant information, we are able to send you a notification within Shirofune about what ads to post and why, based on your unique goals and performance. However, we are not expecting that an AI can replace the creative thinking and strategy of a marketing manager. Right. So the responsibility of the company to create creative, create the strategy, think what campaigns they want to run. We are going to make sure that they perform much better, and we are going to make sure that we recommend what to optimize and when. But the all strategic piece, we strongly believe it has to be in the hands of the capable marketing manager of the company. This is also why I want to make it clear to anybody in this podcast. We are not here to replace people. We are here to let people focus on what matters, because you're not paying somebody $100,000 a year to run search term reports or change budget and bids and waste their day on tasks that they can never be doing as efficiently as a human intelligence. But we are here to free up time so they can focus on what they like best, creating strategies, coming up with creative ideas, making sure that things can be tested. So I hope that answers your question, Steve.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. And thank you very much for sharing that. I want to talk a little bit about a lot of brands I know, unfortunately, and I would say unfortunately, and I mean this, that they use Google's kind of like PMax or Meta's Advantage Plus, and they just say, hey, you know what? We believe, even though it's not really true, but we believe that these platforms are going to optimize based on my budget and their recommendations to get me the lowest possible CPA to drive net new visitors and traffic and conversions. And they, you would hope there's a feedback loop happening, but I think the reality is that, and a lot of brands are doing this because they feel that that's just kind of like the only choice they have, where it turns into a black box a little bit because you never really know what's going on. And once again, Meta and Google and TikTok and all these, they're all for-profit companies. And as much as you believe they may have your back and they're trying to modify all the performance characteristics and budget allocations and recommendations, you believe they're in your best interest. But the reality is they don't really share their secret sauce, and it turns into this black box. So can either one of you kind of talk about like, how is Shirofune kind of different? How is it more transparent about what is actually going on?
I will start the answer and leave it to Mitsu for a very interesting point. But going back to them having our back, Steve, they do have our back because that's where we usually put the wallet, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah.
But no, just jokes aside, there is something that I think Mitsu would like to talk about, which is something that a study that we actually presented not too long ago at an event about what we actually noticed in terms of new customer acquisition from Advantage Plus at PMax campaigns. And that comes down to essentially having the right attribution. One of the things Shirofune does is able to use any sort of attribution in optimizing the campaign. So let's say you're using a company such as Triple Whale to track where your real sales are coming from. We can actually optimize the campaigns using that as an attribution system rather than their own platform Pixel, which is where all of this black box is actually generated from. Right. So we create, while our name is Shirofune, which is a white sheep, we actually make the black box a little bit more white for our client. But maybe Mitsu, you want to talk a little bit more about this attribution topic and what we noticed when we optimized campaigns using a proper attribution system for our study that we ran a few months ago.
Very good point. And the program of PMax or Advantage Plus, that's very good. I think that's it's AI powered. But the problem is that they, maximize the performance with limited data. Like I said, short-term ROAS or CPA is not the ultimate goal for advertisers. So they are trying to maximize the performance in terms of show revenue. That's a, problem. So if we have some multiple campaigns like standard search and display or other things, if we have the campaign that is divided to the, actual channel, we can understand which channel, standard search, got this short-term ROAS, but in the lifetime ROAS, this campaign is doing this performance. So if you only have like PMax or Advantage Plus, just single one campaign, you cannot understand which channel or which search, keywords or which component contributed to the, long-term revenue or profit. That's a problem that I see. That's why we create the system that campaigns or ad creatives performance should be linked to the ultimate goal or long-term ROAS.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of times, Steve, when clients come to us and say, we are doing so well, but somehow at the end of the year, we are not acquiring as many customers. Then we run an attribution study through Shirofune. Turns out the PMax campaign is selling to existing customers instead of new customers. Same thing with a black box.
That's terrible. Yeah.
So essentially with the right attribution, you're able to see where the sales are coming from and actually optimize for new customers.
Yeah. Love it. So I want to hear a case study or a success story. I think I find it interesting. And I went to your website and I see that there is a case study section, and I can see quite a few that are here. Is there any one that's kind of stand out maybe in the direct to consumer space that would resonate with my audience, saying, hey, here's what their life was like before Shirofune. They heard about it, implemented the system, and then what does great look like now that they're a customer and using the platform?
There is a customer, actually, we onboarded them. We started working with them on October 1st. This customer, believe it or not, has been a lead for 1.5 years. We met them 1.5, 2 years ago, and it took them 2 years to decide to give us a go. The reason why they came to us was they wanted essentially to maximize the ROAS during low season. For them, low season is October, November, December. And they told us that their ROAS goal instead of 190, which is what they usually did during low season, was to push it to 230%. So we're like, fine, no problem. We set up Shirofune, did everything that needed to be done for the client. Month one, the ROAS was October, 430%. The second month, it was the toughest, November, 390%. And now in December, we are at nearly 500%, to the point where the client is like, we want now 500% as our standard. They didn't even get it before. But what made that difference, right? Mm-hmm. The difference was that we didn't approach channels as a silo. Silo meaning that you have a Google campaign, you put your budget, they had zillion campaigns. Like when we started, they have over 1,000 shopping campaigns, these guys. It was like madness.
Right.
How can a marketing manager optimize 1,000 shopping campaign plus search, display, PMax, Bing, Google, Meta? Like, it was like so many. There is no way somebody can analyze that data that fast. Essentially, creating an omni-channel budget approach broken down in a specific way, we were able to automate the budgeting and bidding process, telling the system, by the way, let's target at 300% ROAS. I knew we could get there. That's why I suggested them to go 300. And it worked like a charm for them. Now, not every client is going to double their ROAS in the first month, but that testifies to the fact that they were very smart people, and they still are very smart people. But there was just too much data for them to make those decisions. People have an 8 hours day, and there is not only Google to take care of in an e-commerce business. Now that task is done as if they would have done it themselves over and over and over again. And that has been a very impressive case study for me. Another company that we just worked with, another brand, they essentially came to us saying that they weren't able to push their ROAS over 200%, no matter what. We started working with them. We started using a same omnichannel budgeting approach. We started applying bid modifiers. First month, they went to 300%. So essentially, we don't have any magic bullet. We just use your own data to actually make changes that make sense for you based on what you want to achieve. Now, of course, if you tell us you want 1,000% ROAS, you're not going to get it. Not with Shirofune.
No, fair enough. No, this omni-channel kind of budgeting and just omni-channel in general, it really does make a lot of sense for brands. They have to kind of be where the customers are, and we mentioned Meta and Google, obviously TikTok shops now, and ads that are available through there for Gen Z and young millennial buyers. That's another huge, massive market. What about marketplaces? How does Shirofune connect to Amazon or Etsy or these kind of marketplaces, and can you still manage ads from within those marketplaces?
You definitely can. We do not integrate with Etsy. We can only do reporting on Etsy. We directly integrate with Amazon, where we manage everything for the client. The client is still going to be able absolutely to log in Amazon and make their changes. Of course, don't change your budget and bids if you have us manage that, right?
Right.
But essentially, it's a one-click integration, no code installed necessary. And all we do is we ask you to log in and we import the data. And I believe, Mitsu, you are working on integrating also with sub-programmatic platforms, right?
Yeah, we are expanding to the DSP wars. Right, DB360, the Trade Desk, and Amazon DSP as well. And as for Amazon integration, we have developed the connection with Amazon Marketing Cloud, which allows us to calculate the LTV thing on Amazon too. That's very powerful. On Amazon, you can see the new customer ROAS and lifetime ROAS as well. So recently, we can provide that data to Amazon. Too, as well.
I've even noticed, and I think another partner was talking about this, what they said that this Amazon Marketing Cloud that they have, they're actually using that system for their personalization engine, kind of on-page personalization to kind of really help motivate people, not just previously viewed, but just all the technology that's built into Amazon.com and why it works so well for them. That underlying technology that drives Amazon.com is available on page for brands in the Shopify ecosystem. So it's quite interesting that this cloud is available, and Amazon is not hiding that technology. They're like, no, they're willing to license it to other people, but they eat their own dog food. Like they actually use it themselves for their own on-page personalization engine.
Yes, absolutely. And the problem is that, again, do you have the skill set to use that, right? So usually tools is the best way to go because these are complex things for a person to figure out themselves. And let's figure it out. It's better to use a tool that does it for you because it's a whole new skill set that you need to develop if you want to utilize it yourself.
Right. So that's good. So it looks like, from an omni-channel kind of budgeting perspective, like all the platforms are taken care of. Amazon obviously is a large part of people's businesses. And I know direct-to-consumer brands, they definitely maybe not put their full product catalog there, but they certainly sample a lot of their SKUs on there. And there is that residual effect because Amazon has such a high SEO value in North America. When you're querying brand queries or even the product queries, you'd be shocked to see how much Amazon comes up. And so it's silly to not be there, but then knowing that if you're not in the buy box, that's one advantage of using your platform is that you can get into the Amazon ads world and kind of force your way into certain spots that still can have good profitability and then and still use these metrics you're talking about with the lifetime ROAS or LTV number. And so I think it's really interesting. So what's the setup process like? So like if a brand listening today goes, okay, hey, currently, with my marketing team, we're creating this ad creative, but we're entrusting potentially maybe a third-party pixel tool like a Triple Whales or a NorthBeam or something. So they have that running. Like, can you walk us through like how quickly people can get set up, and then like I just want to understand like the flow of what happens. Saying yes, I want to give this platform a try because I don't want to, or I want to confirm or compare it to what PMax is doing or what Advantage Plus is doing. And I want to see what this is all about. Because I think a lot of people just don't know what they don't know. And so I want to know what these steps are to kind of get integrated and running and then prove the value.
Of course. So I want to cover part of this question because there is a part that I'm in charge of and there's a part where Mitsu is in charge of.
Okay. All right.
So the part I'm in charge of is to make sure that within 30 minutes to an hour, you are ready to use Shirofune. The setup is extremely simple, super easy to use. Now, once the setup is done, essentially we have during the whole length of the trial, weekly calls. The weekly calls are meant to help you familiarize more with the platform. They are meant to help you understand how to better use the platform. And essentially, we don't want you to have any question. We want you to make sure that it's like a seamless transition. With that said, depending on the complexity of a client, there is a level of involvement on our end to recommend best practices for what works for the client. However, like you mentioned, some clients want to use attribution system like Triple Whale or NorthBeam, you name it. Essentially, we integrate via API. And that's where Mitsu intervenes with his team. And Mitsu, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit more how easy it is for us to bring data in Shirofune.
Yeah, like Rocco mentioned, we can integrate with any attribution tools or the tool that measure incrementally anything. So, all you have to do is just let us the information about the attribution tool name or like the credential or anything. So that's what we take care of all of that. So you don't have to worry about how difficult to connect with this tool or anything. We can take care of that.
I love it. And so I actually went to the website kind of before recording too, because I was curious about like signing up and kind of how easy it is to kind of start a trial. I know you have a special offer we'll talk about in a few minutes, but it seems interesting to me where, I literally just kind of activated my account through my Google login. And then it just, it really, it's like, business creation, ad creation, and then ad publishing improvements. There's a few things that we hop through here. And then as part of the initial setup. And it seems like it's a fairly straightforward process of just connecting your ad accounts, and then just a tiny bit of learning curve of like, well, how am I interacting with the platform with my ad creative? So there's still, like you said, we're not replacing humans, but we're just actually making it it perform better because we have a platform that's making some intelligent decisions along with humans. And it seems like the onboarding process is very straightforward.
Yeah, and keep in mind that our goal is to save you time, not to complicate your life, right? And that's why we actually like to do the onboarding with calls, because, you try to figure out the platform yourself. You're bound the first time to maybe not set up things right. We want to avoid all of that. We want to make sure you contact us and say, that was so easy and we are so happy. And that's when we know we acquired the client for life, essentially.
Right. No, I love it. Yeah, it seems really straightforward here. And I love all the parts here. I just love assigning the business name, and I love the performance indicators of clicks and conversions and revenue value, and understanding what a monthly budget and connecting up all your channels, and then going through the process. So kudos to making it reasonably hands-free. Like, it seems like it can be a self-serve model, but it seems like at the beginning, depending on the complexity and the size of the business, it might be interesting to kind of, like I said, have Rocco, you and or some people on your team kind of help people along, get things all set up, and then weekly kind of calls to kind of understand like what's working. Do you have any more questions, and kind of get people over the curve? Because I think a lot of marketers sometimes always have a little bit of a pushback. They're saying, okay, things are kind of semi-working for me already. We're on Shopify Plus. We have product market fit. We're making money. Now, could it be more efficient? The answer is yes. And so, but sometimes there's always a pushback. Well, how hard is it going to be to learn this new platform? Or, what's my expectations as someone using it now? I want the performance. I want better performance for my ads. And I want a better LTV number. But some people are always scared sometimes about wanting to try a new platform because they don't know what they don't know. And I think that's a good transition to talk about the offer. And if those that are listening today feel that, you don't like the black box that's going on with PMax through Google, or you don't like what's going on with Advantage Plus, or you're just not sure if it's actually performing to its peak. And even though maybe you're dabbling a bit with some analytics tools, you're dabbling a bit with Triple Whale or NorthBeam or a few others, and you're trying to figure a few things out. Think about the fact that this platform has done significantly, like they own 91% of the market in Japan. That's why they're in North America. They have product market fit, and it's not an AI generated. It's actually understanding what a human actually can do to maximize a campaign. And all of that data has been programmed into this system that's actually working clearly. And so what do we believe kind of the next step should be for those listening that want to try the platform, want to go through the onboarding process? Maybe you can share some of the details.
So Steve, first of all, thank you again for having us today. Truly appreciate that. And your listeners, I'm sure the sole fact that they're listening to your podcast, super high quality material. I've listened to a lot of episodes. I do know that they're not the kind of people that are going to stall and sit in their comfort zone. So we're not going to have the problem of people thinking I'm already getting sales. That's the first step of a declining business, by the way.
Right.
Whenever you are not curious and you do not want to learn more and try new things, that's when your sales start dropping.
Right.
Now, since you've been super nice to us and your audience had the patience to listen to me and Mitsu for quite some time now, we're actually offering a 3-month free trial. Where you're going to get full support by either me or some of my team, where essentially we are going to take care of your business. We are going to make sure that you are going to get the results. This 3 months free trial is going to give you access to all features, doesn't require a credit card on file. There are no tricks, no magics. It's all real. Right. Now, after that, it's a month-to-month agreement at a very low percentage of spend. We do not have high prices. We have a super high retention rate of our customers. We essentially thrive on repeat business. And therefore, we believe we shouldn't be a burden. We should be a resource for the business. Right. And by the way, 95% of our customers pay off whatever the fee would be within the first month of the trial with the results they get, either time saving or performance. they can get access to a free trial by going on www.shirofune.us. And when they are on a call with our sales team, they just need to mention the amazing Steve Hutt, and they're going to get a 3 months free trial. Essentially, that's it. It's a very easy, straightforward offer. And we will be more than happy to take care of a few of your listeners and come back to the show with a few of them and let them tell the story.
Yeah. No, 100%. I think that's fantastic. So I think, and you know, what the nice thing is that, you know, you don't just work with enterprise businesses, like you're even working with SMBs. So if, you know, it's all markets, no matter your size. If you have a little bit of product market fit, obviously the more data, the better. But you know, if you're in your early days, maybe you'll want to run PMax only. But you got a little bit of product market fit. Maybe you've moved into Shopify Plus. This is an interesting opportunity to at least test it. You got 3 months to kick the tires and prove the value without any money. It's extremely fair. I rarely see 3-month trials, and I thank you for that. I think it really is going to open up some doors for you. It's going to open up some opportunities for brands to see just the opportunity costs by not having it. And that's the thing I look at. I'm like, wow, once they see the results that they are going to get, then they're like, okay, well, we're in. And so I implore you that if you're just not sure if your campaigns are working at the best they possibly can, then please give Rocco and Mitsu the opportunity. Just try Shirofune, and and they definitely are there to help you. And thanks again, both for coming on the show and sharing today.
Thank you, Steve. And let's remind the audience they need to say they heard from us on the amazing Steve Hutt podcast, not just on Steve Hutt. Otherwise, they get 2 months. Right?
Oh, they only get 2 months. If they don't say amazing.
Yeah, they get 2 months.
That's lovely. All right, well, gentlemen, thanks again for coming on the show, and I wish you continued success. Breaking into the North American market, and I'm looking forward to some really good case studies of some like big bad American brands that are getting to use your platform. So this is really exciting. All right, take care. Thank you. Well, that's it for today's episode. I'd like to thank you personally for being a loyal listener of E-commerce Fastlane. It's my hope that this podcast is offering you a ton of value through growth strategies, tactics, and exclusive insider tips on the best Shopify apps and marketing platforms, all with my personal goal to help you build, manage, grow, and scale a successful and thriving company powered by Shopify. Thanks for investing some time today and listening to the show. I'm so proud and excited that you have a growth mindset and are a constant learner. I truly appreciate you and your entrepreneurial journey. Enjoy the rest of the week and keep thriving with Shopify.